Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we'll be talking about student loans. So I'll be going over one of Dave Ramsey's episodes titled $1 million in student debt and basically reacting to that video. This should be a lot of fun, so keep watching this video. So for those of you that don't know Dave Ramsey, he's a really popular personal finance expert, personal finance advisor, and he has this show where people call in, talk about their financial situation, their problems, and he tries to give them financial advice. So the episode we'll be talking about today has a guy called Justin from Florida calling in, and he talked about how he has $1 million in student loans. And you know, this might seem crazy, but this is real. This is real life. He has $1 million of student debt. Like, let that sink in for a bit. Watch this.
So I had a question for you. I just recently graduated from residency to become an orthodontist, and I have student loans that total just over $1 million.
You're kidding me.
So I already know many of you are like, this is not possible. $1 million? But this is possible. I really think it's possible. I know 1 million is like a whole lot, even in the US, for like people to have $1 million in student debt. But this is possible. But let's think about those people that took, you know, $200,000 loans for business school. And this guy went to medical school, and he must have gone to college before going into medical school. So think about taking all that loan. Business school is $200,000. I'm pretty sure medical school, some people take way more than that for medical school. But think about the fact that maybe, you know, at some point also took loans for college, undergrad, and for those 4 years, financed everything through loans, got out, maybe didn't work for a bit, but like got into medical school and had to take up some more loans. See, this is possible, and this might look like impossible to you, but this can happen. And let's even talk about how this relates to international students, because I think this is even more interesting for international students to think about. So first, let's talk about interest rates. So I'm pretty sure Justin is an American citizen, and you know, he got those loans at a really low rate compared to what we as international students would have to pay if we wanted to get those loans. But first things first, ain't nobody giving you $1 million as an international student. Nobody's giving you $1 million as an international student. And I'm sure he didn't get $1 million at once. Of course, this is like college, from college to going to medical school to taking all those board exams and all those things. But like, you can't even get to $1 million in debt as an international student. Like, who is giving you that loan? But really, interest rate is very important for international students, because maybe you as an international student, you're getting your rate at maybe 8%, and if he got some federal loans, maybe way lower than that. So you might not have, maybe you as an international student, you're not getting $1 million in debt. Maybe that's not your principal. Maybe you got maybe $200,000. But think about paying 8% every year. But first, let's look at what Justin's interest payment is per month. Watch this.
I've sat down and calculated my interest rates, and my interest is about $5,800 a month.
So Justin has over $5,000, more like closer to $6,000 in interest payments every month. So at this point, you know, I don't know what to say, but almost $6,000. Like, I'm laughing in my dialect right now. That is crazy. That is just interest. Like, what about principal? Like, what does he need to pay every month to get out of this? Really, what does he need to pay? This is just interest. But let's just think about for a second the fact that international students would have gotten that loan or those same loans at, like, without a US cosign, of course, like at maybe triple that interest rate that he got, whatever interest rate he got. I can't imagine paying double or even triple that. Like, many international students get their loans at maybe 8%, 8.5, 7.75. Yeah, so this is a whole lot. First, interest rate is so important, and it's one of it makes it harder even for you as an international student. So yes, this is, as you are thinking about the principal, you also have to think about the fact that what you're owing, your loan balance is almost jumping every month. And if he can even pay $5,800 every month, that is just not even scratching the surface, because he still has all that principal to pay. But the other thing you need to think about as an international student is just also exchange rate issues. If, for instance, you schooled in the US, got all these business school or medical school loans, huge loans, and then you decide to work outside of the US and maybe in your home country, and you have some exchange rate issues, exchange rate risk. Of course, you're exposed to exchange rate risk, and it just so happens that your currency is devalued or depreciates, or even at the level where it is, it's wait, it's not just I'm owing so much in dollars, but now it's I have to pay for the rest of my life, because you're not just dealing with huge loans, you are having to deal with exchange rates risk. So even if you're earning well in your country, you're doing well, you have a job, or you have your company, or you have your startup, you're doing well, it's just crazy the fact that you have these loans. Of course, the loans are increasing because interest is not your friend. And then you still have to think about the fact that anything with the exchange rate, any devaluation, any depreciation, you're done. So it's really crazy. It's so much, and that's why I like to talk about these student loans. And I've talked a lot on this channel about getting student loans, student loan options. You can see all those videos. I'll link them in the description box. But I also like to, come on here and talk about the reality of having loans, because when we are signing those papers and we want to go to this school, and we're signing those papers and signing those loan agreements, the feeling is different. What is in your head most times is, I'm going to this dream school, this school that, everyone just dreams of going, and you're not really thinking about the fact, you're not thinking about, negative outcomes, oh, what if I can't pay this loan? Oh, what if I don't have a job? Of course, that's a possibility, but at that point, you're so excited about this school is my dream. This is my dream school, and I'm finally, you think of it as this is a rare privilege that I get to go to this school. But sis, bro, please calm down. And I get a lot of DMs on Instagram and a lot of emails with people saying, hey, I got admission into this school. This is top school in the world, or top school in this region, or in this part, in this country. And I don't want to lose this opportunity of going to this school. I want to take loans. This school then, and those schools that are top schools that don't offer you good funding. School fees is £50,000 and they're giving you £5,000. Really, what should I do with your £5,000? I get these emails and people are like, what do I do? I got this admission. This is a dream come true for me, but I don't have. This school didn't give me a lot of funding. I didn't get a lot of scholarships. I need to take loans. And at that point, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but really, sis, calm down, because I know these things, the feeling when you're taking, when you're signing those agreements, those loan agreements, and going to that school, what you just think about is, wow, I'm going to my dream school. But really calm down, because it's your dream school. But if you take crazy loans, and that of course, with the pandemic and everything in the world, there's a lot more risk now. You just have to think twice and three times now than before. But really, what I tell them is calm down. I know that this is your dream school, but you may have to leave dream school for now. You may have to reapply next year. And it's sad, I know. I understand these things. I've been there. But when you're paying your loans, your dream school won't be there for you. And yeah, you might think, and we'll talk about that later. People thinking that, oh, if I go to this school that is like top in the world, once I graduate, I get a job. Okay, let's talk about that later. But the point is, try to think twice when you get admission into your dream school. And I know that is great, I know that is perfect, I know that is what you've always wanted. But if that school is not offering you good funding, I think you need to really sit down and weigh your options. Really think about your options and be like, really, do I want to pay these loans? How do I fund these loans? What are the chances of getting this dream job? Again, we go back to dream. What are the chances of getting this dream job that will pay me this? Or what are the chances my startup will be so successful that I'll be able to pay these loans? So like, that's just one thing I want to point out, that even though you get into your dream school, as many of you share with me, and I congratulate you, it's great, just calm down, think twice, and really weigh your options. Because the reality, once you graduate, especially as an international student, and the first 6 months, if you don't have a job and you have these loans staring at you, it drives you crazy. It shapes all the decisions you make. It's just like, you begin to think, where do I start from? What do I do? Do I go back? Do I stay? And then you still have to deal with visa issues. It's a lot. So point being that, take some time, think through, and really think about, your chances of things working out. And if really taking all those big loans, and I'm not talking about like really small amounts, I'm talking about like 200K loans, or 100K or $100,000 loan for grad school, maybe from $70,000. Really think about it and weigh your options well, because paying dollar denominated loans is not so easy. So another thing we need to talk about is really, how do we avoid being in this situation where we get into our dream schools, we don't want to take loans, or we have to take loans and everything. And I really just wanted to point out that I say this a lot on this channel, but I feel the need to say it again, okay? But the point is, you have to really think about what schools you're applying to. Try to apply to a good mix of schools. I say it always, like, I know we have dream schools. I know these 5 schools are like, I want to be there, I want to go there. But really apply to, sometimes those dream schools you have, those usually they are very competitive. Even if you get into those schools, they might not offer you really good funding. But if you apply to another tier of schools, and those ones offer you the admission and very good funding, sometimes full funding, sometimes these top schools also offer you full funding. The point is, the first thing you can do, and I think the best thing you can do, is to apply to a good mix of schools. Another thing you can do is, once that's just to say, think about funding from the get-go. Don't think about funding after you've gained admission. That is a mistake I see a lot of people make. When you guys even send me emails and IG DMs, a lot of you have already gotten the admission, and now you're thinking about, how do I fund it? What do I do? And I understand, that's how I used to think about it too. That's how I approached it too. But that is wrong. What you want to do is start thinking about funding from the beginning. You know yourself. You can't afford to go to that school. You know that even if you sold everything you had, that school is like way above your budget and above your life savings. Then you should know that from the beginning. Think about funding and think about, I'll apply to this school, but maybe I'll apply to these other schools as well. So that's the first thing you can do. Another thing you can do is, even after applying to those schools, getting the admission, international students, you guys don't ask for more money. You need to ask schools, tell them that, hey, I can't afford this. I'm really excited about coming to your school. I really need any financial help I can get from you. Try your best to do this once you get the admission. Another thing is, hey, if you have to defer. If you have to reject the admission, reject. If you have to reapply, do it. But I just think at some point you have to make a personal decision, like, how much loan would be too much or too risky for me. Everything depends on your risk tolerance. It depends on where you are financially, where you are in your career, what level, it just depends on you. But really think about it, and sometimes the best decision for you would be to take the loan. Sometimes the best decision for another person would be defer. Sometimes it's what, reject and reapply next year. And all of these things are fine. And the most important thing is just to really think about, be deliberate about that decision, and don't be in a hurry to take that loan because that school is your dream or that program you think would uplift you forever. It's true, but it's just good to really think about it and weigh your options. That said, another thing is, who knew the pandemic was going to happen? Maybe no one, okay? But look at that. It's like, even if you had all these really great plans of how you will get this job immediately you graduate, how this, how that, think about, what if something happens? Like this pandemic, people that have loans, those loan providers have not stopped charging them interest. You heard that. You heard it. Like people, even though they are out of school and because of this whole pandemic and the impact of everything, they still can't find jobs. Some people have had their offers cancelled. Some people have had their final interviews cancelled. People don't have jobs right now. Many people are going through a lot, but the student loans you took, they are still charging you. They are still, like, interest on your loan is like compounding every day. So think about that for a second. These guys, with everything happening in the world, they are still charging you. And this is not about a debate on whether that is right or wrong, but this is reality. Your loans are increasing every day. Whether you have a job or not, that interest on your loan is compounding. So think about that. The fact that there could be a lot of uncertainty. What if this happens? In your decision making, also think about, and for those of you that have admissions right now and thinking about whether you should take it or not, just think about these are difficult times, really. And even those that have not applied yet, these things can happen. Nobody knew the pandemic was going to happen. Where does that leave you? In case you decide to take this loan, just think about all those things. And at the end of the day, it comes down to what you want for yourself, how much risk you're willing to take, and yeah, just be deliberate about it. So that's one other thing I wanted to point out. So I hope this video gave you a real life perspective on student loans, student debt, and paying off student loans and everything associated with it. And really, the person in question, the video we talked about today, has some not real privileges but some benefits that you as an international student wouldn't have. He didn't have to deal with visa issues, work permit, company sponsorship. He didn't have to deal with crazy high interest rates, exchange rates, exposure. Those are additional problems you have to deal with as an international student. And so I hope you leave this video with one thing today, and that is, for you, especially as an international student, loans should be treated as a last resort. Like, if you don't absolutely have to, I don't think you should take it. But let me know in the comment section if you agree with me, if you think the same way, or if you have other thoughts. I'm really curious to know what you guys think. And if you like today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Like, why have you not subscribed? Subscribe to my channel and make sure you click the notification bell right beside the subscribe button so you know whenever I drop videos. If you like this reaction video and you want more like this, let me know in the comment section, and I look forward to seeing you guys again in my next video.